HBO is airing its 2-hour documentary on the making of Season 8 of Game of Thrones tonight. And now that the season's finally done, we brought our roundtable back one more time to analyze, maybe rant on how you did or didn't like the final season of Game of Thrones. One of the best series on TV ever, with maybe the worst last season. We've got Jake Stevens, June Signaris, Marley Austin, our wonderful weekend morning producer Heather Case, and Reese Waters back with us. And Reese, you look a little depressed there.
He's been mugging that way for a while now.
Yeah.
How could they? How could they? How could they?
You'll have to be more specific.
Just let him sit with it for a little bit.
10 years we've been waiting, and that's what they gave us. How could they? A wheel brand the broken.
Brand the broken.
Brand the broken. Brand the broken. Just move on. I can't do it. We don't know where John was going. We don't know where Arya was going. We don't know if the Unsullied can farm.
Aren't they going to lie on the beach?
They're going to Virginia Beach.
I'm curious as to what all you guys think after sitting with it for a little bit longer, because the more I sit with it, the more annoyed and frustrated I am, particularly with the second half, with the brand choice and with the logic that we used to get there, with he has the best story when in reality I would say everybody else had a better story than he did, and bringing up John's heritage and then not bringing it up ever again. It has no impact on the story, and it just seemed like, all right, we got to get this wrapped up as fast as possible. It's like buying a Christmas gift the morning of and saying, okay, no, it was fine.
Amazon Prime, can you deliver today?
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's why Bran has the best story, because he's literally everybody's story.
But they didn't even do a good job of processing that and selling it as a, this is why he should be it, which is back to Heather's point.
And one of those conversations that we saw start and we never saw what happened was Tyrion and Bran, and that might have explained everything that Tyrion pitched Bran being the best story and should be on the throne, but we don't know what was said in that conversation.
All right, let me ask this question. Let me pose this question. After Jon kills Daenerys, I know he had that conversation with Tyrion where he's like, I don't want to be king, I don't want to be king. Should they still have told everybody he's the last Targaryen, but he doesn't want it, so here's his solution?
Say nothing to anyone ever.
His solution bothered me the most because the Unsullied made this big deal about how
We do not need payment. We need justice.
because he killed Daenerys and they would not stand for that. So he goes to the Night's Watch. I don't know what they're watching for at this point, but he goes to the Night's Watch.
Green grass.
And then he goes up, north beyond the Wall. But who's to say that he doesn't come back down to Winterfell and just live out the rest of his life with his sister, Sansa? Like, who's gonna hold him accountable for being, exiled? Because the Unsullied got on their boats and sailed away.
I think this was their way of keeping the Unsullied from starting another war within King's Landing because they were so opposed to him going free. But because of the holes in the storytelling and the rush stuff, that's not explained well either.
Well, that was a problem for me because there's no way Grey Worm just brings Tyrion to everyone else and they're okay sending Jon away. Like, the Unsullied would have rioted. And there's nothing to prevent them from doing that.
It would have been better, realistically, like, oh, hey, let's have trial by combat between Grey Worm and Jon, and then they can go from there.
That's one way to handle it.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, the show basically asked us to watch all these episodes, pay attention to all these little eggs that they dropped and all these little seeds that they dropped, and they'll pay off later. That's what the show is asking us to do. Right. And then in the end, it's asking us to forget all of those things and just believe what we're showing you right now. And this has been a whole season-long problem, is that I don't believe what you're showing me right now based on everything you've shown me previously.
So were there any characters that you guys thought had satisfying endings? Was there anything that you guys were satisfied with?
Getting there, maybe not. But Jon's made sense, Daenerys made sense.
Arya made
Even
sense.
in some way, Arya made sense, but
Sansa too.
there were lots of holes on the way. Yeah.
The plot points, for the most part, all hit. It's that hashing it out that doesn't hit because they
And that
didn't
was
hash
what
it
made
out.
the show work so well in the early seasons is you saw the mechanics and the workings behind the big plot points as we got to them. And this time it was skip, skip, skip.
There was like Melisandre, that thing with Arya
He said I'd shut many eyes forever.
Brown eyes, green eyes, and blue eyes.
I was like, okay, well, there's one thing that was resolved in the last season, but there was a lot that just fell short.